WP Bosses episode number 12. We're here with Dion Hulse, lead developer at WordPress. Let's quickly go around and say hello, everyone. Paul, who are you?
Hi, I'm Paul from Gold Coast Business Websites, front-end WordPress website developer, and I run a service called WP Genie, which is a website care service. Thank you.
Very good. Tracey, who are you?
Hi, I'm Tracey from Get Web Creative, based on the Gold Coast, and I'm also a front-end WordPress developer.
Nik, who are you?
Oh, hello. I'm Nik. I'm also on the Gold Coast. I run a business called Positive Business Online, and I'm a front-end developer for WordPress that comes in sideways.
Excellent. I'm feeling a little bit left out. I'm not on the Gold Coast. I'm in Port Macquarie in New South Wales, and I also work on WordPress, and I suppose I don't really know which way I come in, but I just work with WordPress. That's pretty much all you need to know. And Dion, who are you?
I'm Dion. I'm one of the WordPress lead developers, and I'm based in Brisbane.
Excellent. Everyone is in Queensland except for me, but that's okay. Tracey, do you have any meetup news for us this month?
I do. WordPress Adelaide meetup group is meeting tonight, and they're talking about tweaking your site and theme and introduction to customizing your WordPress site. That would be on starting right about now. Actually, they're half an hour behind, aren't they? So not quite yet. Tomorrow night, the WordPress Melbourne user group is meeting, and they're doing a bit of a informal WordPress beginner session. So a bit of a Q&A, and then they're doing setting up a local WordPress environment presentation. And then Joel Lead is going to be talking about Elementor Page Builder. So that should be good.
Nice.
Yeah, and Thursday is the WordPress Brisbane meetup, and Felicia Russia is going to be doing a presentation on SEO. She recently did one at the Gold Coast meetup, and it was very great. So let's, yeah, I'm spewing I can't get up there, but hopefully lots of people can. Then we have also on Thursday night, the North Sydney meetup group, and they haven't updated their topics yet, so I can't give you any more information. And that's about it.
Perfect. I'd like to see that Elementor talk as well. Unfortunately, I'm not in Melbourne. Nik, Mr. Business Tip.
Me, yes. Well, a business tip today is something that I have been working on today. I spent probably a good half day working on page speed for a website, just trying to get to that magical 100 out of 100 for a Google page speed score, which is absolutely impossible, but apparently not. There is having done some research there, had a look and found a plugin called Autoptimize, which is Autoptimize, and that's got actually no, that is not the one. That is one of them, but the other one is I can't remember it now, but I'll put it up in the on the website. But one of the key things is when you're optimizing for speed, you'll often see a lot of the elements there are off-page elements that you can't do any sort of leverage caching for or anything with. But one of the ones that you often see is that the above the fold CSS and JavaScript, that you really want to optimize that first and have that load first, and then the rest of it load second. How do you do that? When you have a style sheet, which is all of your, how do you pick out all of those elements there so that you only serve first the CSS, the specified for above the fold and the JavaScript that's above the fold. So today there is this plugin, which I can't remember the name of, that I did use today, and I'll tell you about it later on. And one of the things is you can go to a site called jonasbastionolsen.com, Critical Path CSS Generator. And what you do there is you put your domain that you try to optimize. You grab your style sheet and copy an entire style sheet into a box there. And then you click the Go button. And then what the Go button does is it grabs out all of the CSS that is rendered above the fold and just extracts all that. And then you can grab that CSS and you can paste it into the Critical Path CSS box in this plugin and click Save. And when you do that, when you get your Google page score, you'll find that it will move from a D or a C up to a B+ or an A. So because it's only loading those elements above the fold first. So it is a bit technical. There is I've probably spent a good 3/4 of the day on it today, but there's a bit of reading to do it. But once you do it, you can get some blazingly fast website speeds. And the plugin authors claim to be able to get 100 out of 100. So they think they've got 100 out of 100 for the Google page speed scores. But from the work that I did today, it was pretty impressive. And we got some speeds that were way better than just using caching, CDN, like Cloudflare, minification, and all of those things that still only got me a B. If I was really lucky, it got me a high B. This plugin here, just following these steps, got us into an A. So, yeah, so if you want speed, Google ranks speed as one of those important things in terms of SEO. The plugin plus this site is a great way to go, and we'll pop that up into wpbosses.
Fascinating.
So that's my business tip of the day.
And what speeds did you get? You said you got B+ and A for grade, but how fast did the site actually load?
It went from, I think the slowest that we had it loading was about 9 seconds, and we got it down to 1 point something, it was around 1.5.
Nice. Pretty good improvement.
So, yeah, I was pretty happy because I thought it was pretty quick before that. But this plugin and this process made all the difference.
Yeah, nice. Paul, how do you keep your website healthy?
You inject it with steroids and take it to the gym with you and eat food while you're coding.
Right.
Generally help. That's my tip for tonight. No, kidding. There's a lot of things that you need to do to keep your website healthy, such as keeping all your software up to date. Obviously, I'm going to say it again. I've been saying it throughout the rest of the all of our other meetings, but backups are really important. So all that hard work that you put in, you don't want to lose it. So backups are really important. But anyway, I'm just going to choose one little thing that you can do in your little downtime that I found that has affected some of my clients in the past. So you know those beautiful little contact forms that you have on the contact page?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Put in name and email and phone number and a little message, and then you send it off, and then hopefully somebody at the person who runs the website gets that message.
Hopefully.
You'd be surprised sometimes that depending on the plugin that you're using to create the contact form, sometimes it does break, or an update breaks the process. I know Contact Form 7 has been notorious for that sort of thing in the past, so I've had to fix a few of those in the past. So anyway, when you're in your downtime, this is my tip. When you're in your downtime, you're not doing anything, just test your contact forms. Just test them. Just put in your name, your email, and just make sure they work. Make sure that you're getting the inquiry messages, and if you've got autoresponders set up as well, if you're using Gravity Forms, just make sure that they're getting fired off as well. So just a little tip, but it makes up all the difference whether an inquiry comes to you or not. That makes up a big difference. So
yeah, good tip. It does actually happen quite a lot where the contact form doesn't come through, and it's not always a problem with the plugin itself. I've been setting up third-party services to manage the email sending, such as SendGrid or Spark Post, maybe is another one. Mailgun. There's a few of them out there. I've had a lot of web servers not sending email, or the emails not getting delivered because spam filters are tightening and whatnot. Anyway, so keep that in mind as well.
nice.
I've just got a quick service this time from Sridhar Kartikam. I think that's how you say his surname. He's got a lovely website full of WordPress and Genesis framework tutorials that have saved many developers many hours of time. It's a monthly subscription. You can head to sridharkartikam.com and I will add that to the show notes wherever those end up. And you can go there and check those out. I think he's in Melbourne. Yes, I got that right. Cool. So on to the star of the show, if you like. Dion, question number 1. What did you want to be when you were in year 11 or 12 in high school?
Does anyone really know what they want to be in year 11 or 12? I'm sure most of us aren't where we thought we were going to be. I think I just discovered WordPress in year 12, and I don't think I wanted to do anything related to it at the time. I'm not exactly sure I knew what I wanted to do. Something in computers, probably.
Yeah.
Or electrical something, but I never really figured that out until second year of university.
Yeah. And was it just for, did you have a blog in year 12?
I think I started contributing to WordPress before I had a domain name.
Okay.
So no.
So what does a year 11 or year 12 person do when they're contributing to WordPress?
Oh, geez. It's a long time ago. From memory, I was bored and just looking to, try some real coding for a change. And from memory, I submitted a small patch on the Press This bookmarklet thing that was in WordPress. At the time, the ticket got closed as won't fix, and then they removed the Press This editor from core for a couple of versions. So that's not exactly a great first contributor story, but that was...
Well, if it wasn't working, at least they removed.
It wasn't working. That's why I was removed.
So how long between that part of your life when you were just putting, bugs up to when you actually got employed at Automatic, and how did that actually happen for you?
That's an interesting one. It's actually got a really long timeline on it. It was 2005, 2006 when I first looked at WordPress. It was late 2011 by the time I got employed by Automatic. So about half the time I've been doing something with WordPress, I wasn't actually employed by Automatic. It started out just as a thing on the side. Had another job and did some WordPress freelancing in my spare time. Eventually became a core committer in 2009, I think it was. And then it was just a spur of the moment type thing to join Automatic in 2011. And it's been a long 5 years that I've been at Automatic now. Feels like I've been there a lot longer than I have, but
Well, yeah, you've been there as long as I've
hopefully
known.
in a good way.
So, as an automatician, you've travelled quite a lot, extensively with your job. Is that correct?
I think it's fair to say I've travelled more than the average person.
Nice. So you've been to many exotic places around the world. Which one would you go back to again? Like, what's your favourite place? Australia, maybe?
Australia is probably my favourite place, to be honest. I haven't really been anywhere and thought, gee, I'd love to live here. I mean, I've been to New Zealand a few times. It's a lovely country. I'd love to go back for a holiday. I've spent a bit of time in Italy. That was really nice. UK, US, Portugal, Lisbon, the other place next to Portugal. But I know, I'm not entirely sure. I'd probably have to go with New Zealand if I couldn't pick Australia.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
And is that because the internet's fast right over there?
It probably is faster. I haven't experienced that while I was in New Zealand, I have to admit. Hotel Wi-Fi is not exactly the most reliable thing, even compared to Australian broadband.
Wow.
Yeah, anything's faster sort of compared to Australian broadband.
Well, it depends on where you're living. If you're in Brisbane, it's a little bit better than Gold Coast. Although I feel sorry for Robey out in Port Macquarie. I can't imagine what it's like down there.
You know what? It's actually where I am. It's actually better than where I was in the Gold Coast.
Huh.
It's actually a solid ADSL2 connection here. Before it was a really shoddy ADSL1. I might get 6 meg down, on and off, fluctuating throughout the day.
Yeah, similar here actually. I moved from a small country town, with about 5,000 people in it about a year ago to Brisbane. And in doing so, my ADSL speed dropped from about 25 megabit down to 10. You think moving to the city is going to bring better internet, but it's not always the case.
Which is great when you work online.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a WordCamp coming up. We've mentioned WordCamps before here. I think we even had an episode about WordCamp Sydney, but I'd be interested to hear your kind of summary or overview of what is a WordCamp all about.
WordCamps get defined by many people as many different things. I generally would describe it as a conference for everyone who's interested in the web or WordPress in general. Every WordCamp I've been to differs significantly, but the one thing that they all have in common is that everyone there, the attendees, the speakers, the organizers, the volunteers, all of them use WordPress, or care about WordPress, or just want to be involved with WordPress and help spread the knowledge of how people can do things with WordPress. That is pretty much what I think of when I think of a WordCamp, is just a community organized, a local event showcasing anything related to WordPress with people who care about WordPress. Probably still my favorite conference to attend.
There's a bit of a misconception out there. I've just come back from WordCamp in Auckland and spoke to, it was more than one participant, a few participants that were there that are non-developers, they're non-designers, they're WordPress users. And they said the reason that they hadn't considered attending before is because they thought it was only for geeks and developers and designers and that sort of thing there. But that's not really the case, is it?
No, not at all. Every WordCamp has a different focus in terms of what presentations are on offer. I mean, there's been WordCamps in the past which are purely for developers. There's been WordCamps in the past that are purely for users purely for education. And I also think there's a WordCamp coming up in the US somewhere that is specifically aimed at publishers. But most WordCamps are aimed at the entire spectrum of users. Doesn't matter if you haven't even used WordPress in the past. There's always something on offer that suits everyone.
What's been the most memorable WordCamp that you've been to?
I mean, in a way, they're all memorable. One of my favorites is probably WordCamp San Francisco 2010, though. Mostly because it was my first major WordCamp that I went along to. I can't remember how many hundreds of people were there, but it was certainly a lot. And it was also where I got to meet a lot of the other WordPress contributors for the first time. So that was a pretty memorable moment for me, especially to meet all the people face to face who you've been working with for years and who you respect. It's amazing experience. Very humbling as well.
And how did you find it being, actually meeting some of these people for the first time? Was it overwhelming, or were they just like everybody else, quite normal people, or were they quite removed? What was the experience like?
I think it's expected to be overwhelming for most people. Meeting people that you've talked to online and then realizing you've been mispronouncing their name in your head for all these years is rather embarrassing. But they do exactly the same thing to other people. But once you've sort of been in that position, you sort of understand what it's like. I'm not sure. I don't exactly remember a lot of it. I mean, I was extremely jet lagged at the time as well. But
that's one of the main reasons I wanted to do these Hangouts, is just so I could, there's people I've known for a long time online, but I've never actually seen them talk. I've never heard their voice. I've never heard other people pronounce their name. I just started watching like videos of presentations on WordPress TV and that. And I just thought, there's so many other people out there that I just want to see on video that I'd never otherwise meet, who might be on the other side of the country or in a different country altogether. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, it really is. I'm always surprised when I start talking with someone and realize that, they also know person X who is in London or Singapore. And it's just that common WordPress connection that they've met through some other common person. And the WordPress world's rather small, yet rather spread around the entire world. It's always a surprise just how interconnected it all is.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wherever you go, it doesn't matter where you go in the world, there's one common element wherever you travel, and that is there's always an automatician somewhere.
That is very true. I don't know the stats, but we're over 550 people in, I think, approaching 100 countries or something.
Wow.
But every WordCamp, there is at least one automatician who is, decided they want to be there. I often run into new automaticians who I've never met before as well.
So you don't know them all yet?
No. Once upon a time, everyone in the company knew everyone else. But then we grew to 100 people, 200, 300, 400. And now we're over 500. I think a few people have started realizing that they can't know everyone. It's...
So in some senses, being an automatician, and being an automatician as someone that uses WordPress is almost the pinnacle, the dream job that you could aspire to. And if you don't feel like you've got you know, you're the ace developer or the ace designer. Is there a role for you being an automatician, or do they only take sort of people that are at the in one particular spectrum, like the top developers?
Automatic hiring is very open in that we hire a number of developers who don't even know WordPress. We hire people because they're going to fit the job description and they're going to learn how WordPress works and how to do things and all the other technologies that Automatic uses in its day-to-day operations. We hire usually the best of the best, I guess you'd say. But a lot of people shortchange themselves in their knowledge. I wouldn't say there's a position for everyone. I mean, Automatic is a company that has a very specific niche, the way it works, the way it communicates, and not everyone fits into that. And it's definitely not where I would suggest someone goes for their first WordPress job. Getting experience with smaller partners and moving their way up in the world, as it may seem, is the way that I think a lot of people enter Automatic.
Okay. You just got to believe in yourself.
Well, that's the way it works in a lot of things. If you don't believe in yourself, then you're not going to get anywhere. Having confidence in what you do is better than experience in many ways.
And if you don't know anything,
getting over that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a big one. I don't think some of us never get over it, but recognizing that it exists and what it is definitely helps people.
Do you ever have moments of doubt about yourself?
Of course I do. I think everyone does. I mean, quite often you get to the point where you think, why am I working on this? Surely there's someone else who can do this better. But you still have to take a step back and say, well, yeah, even if there is someone who might be able to do this in a shorter time, I know how to do this, I can do this, and I'm going to do this. It's having that confidence in yourself that lets you get over those hurdles and ignore the thought in the back of your mind that maybe you're not the one who's cut out for this.
And in fact, it's okay to go.
Could you unmute yourself and say that again, Nik?
I was saying that it's actually okay to Google for the answer and to look in the WordPress codex.
Yeah. And if it's...
Admittedly, I think php.net is probably the most loaded website while I'm developing. Remembering what arguments things take and which function is reverse of the other one, you can't always know the answer. Sometimes being able to refer back to a reference is the only way that a developer can, be productive.
And if you're thinking someone else could do something quicker than you, so why are you doing it? You're pretty much just shooting yourself in the foot because you're saying, well, I'll never do it again because there's always going to be someone better, so you'll never improve yourself. So it's doing those things that you've never done before that builds your skill set and makes you better for the next time it comes around.
Most definitely.
And you've got over, 550 other automaticians to turn to if you have a question, I guess, as well. Do you guys mingle, or do you guys talk a lot amongst each other, like through Slack or other channels?
Automatic uses Slack for most of our real-time communications. We also use P2s and things like that. But being in Australia, there's very few people actually working and online while I'm also online. It's pretty much reserved to the dozen or so of the Australians. That being said, we're never stuck doing something ourselves. We can always put another colleague in to help, or ask if there's anyone around to bounce an idea off. There's always someone else willing to help.
Cool.
WordPress Brisbane's coming up. Tell us about it.
WordPress Brisbane's this Thursday, but what I think you meant was WordCamp.
Sorry, WordCamp. Sorry, Brisbane Word. Yes.
Yeah, so WordCamp Brisbane is coming up in July. I've incorrectly said June a couple of times when I'm getting quotes. It's getting a bit bad. But June 22, July 22, 23. We're super early in the planning process still at the moment. We've got the website live. Ticket sales went live this past weekend. Call for speakers is open, and we're starting to get a few trickle in. We're still looking for a lot more speakers, sponsors, and of course attendees, but I'm hoping that this year is going to be a pretty nice turnout.
And it's the same venue as last time, right? At the university?
Yeah, we're using QUT in the centre of Brisbane again.
Yeah.
The venue worked out really well, so we're going to go back there again. Although this time we've chosen to use 2 large theatres rather than the facing each other UN room. I don't know how to describe that on video. But anyone who was there or seen the videos from that room knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, go and watch the WordPress TV videos from WordCamp Brisbane 2015. I've watched a few of them, and they're good talks, but I know what you mean about the awkward room situation there.
Yeah, there's one of the recordings there has me running behind the presenter to lower the blinds behind him again as the blinds open to reveal the nice sun behind him.
And is there any particular topics or themes that you're looking for speakers, or any sort of preference in terms of flavour of the WordCamp coming up?
I don't have any preferences myself. A few people have indicated that they would like to see some advanced developer talks, but it really depends on who submits talks to as to what the main topics are going to be. I would love to see everything from new users through to business through to new development and advanced development, but realistically, you can't cover everything. So we'll have more answers on that soon, but right now, all I can say is that it's going to have something for everyone, I hope.
Yeah, cool.
So I guess the call out is for all of those that can put in a speaker application, regardless of what area they are, whether they're a user, developer, designer, corporate, single, agency, or just have some sort of interest, just get some sort of talk in, and that's going to really develop into the flavour of what WordCamp's going to be in Brisbane 2017.
Even if you're a side-end developer like Nik.
Yeah.
I've got some sideways talks I can do.
Can I ask the last question?
Go.
No.
Okay. Shit. All right. So, okay, Dion. So, being a lead WordPress developer, where do you see WordPress being in the next 5 years? or in 5 years' time?
You've got 2 minutes.
2 minutes. I really wish that was long enough to answer it. I really don't know. We're going to see more JavaScript-based functionality and features. We're going to see the editor and customizer over the next year or two really start shining. I don't know where WordPress is going to be in 5 years. I couldn't imagine it would be where it is now 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago when I started. I think I started using WordPress back when it was around 2.3.
Well,
so it's between now and then it's changed drastically. I have no idea what it'll be like in 5 years' time.
Cool. Good answer. If people want to find you online, are you on twitter.com/dd32?
That's me.
Excellent. And also at dd32.id.au is your blog.
Yep, that's my rarely updated blog. I should really start using WordPress more often.
Good answer. All right, well, I think our time's about to run out. So, goodbye.
thanks, Dion.
Thanks, Dion.
Thanks for coming.